First of all, I would like to say that Susan Lee, being leader of the Liberal Party, opposition leader for the past 9 months, was not an easy job or a task, as any leader will tell you. She's now resigned and will be leaving Parliament. I do wish her all the best for the future and where her life takes her and spends more time with family. On the other hand, I'm a bit disappointed she didn't stay with the party, work for her constituency who only voted her in 9 months ago, and of course a by-election will be an extra cost to the taxpayer. I will be saying One Nation will be standing a candidate for the seat of Farrer. We will be fighting for the rural issues that's important to the people in these communities. They feel very much forgotten, and I think the biggest issue with these communities, especially there, is about the Murray-Darling Basin, the water issue, the agricultural issue, the farming sector, the cost of electricity, cost of living, all affect these communities. I have been consistent with my policies over the years, and I will continue to do so, and I will continue to fight for these rural communities. Any questions?
Now the Liberal Party has a more conservative leader. Are you concerned that will cost you votes?
They've changed the leader, but they're still on a dead horse. And what I hear all the time from Susan Lee, and as I'm hearing from Angus Taylor, is motherhood statements. The people have had enough. They are hurting. And they want strong leadership. They want to know where the politicians, the political parties stand on their policies. What are you going to do for us? A lot of the people that come up to me and said, I've been a Liberal Party member for years, decades, they say, no more. And the same is happening with the Labor Party. They said, no more. They've lost confidence in them. For 9 months, the biggest issue was about migration and the mass migration. And neither party have addressed it. And even the Labor Party continued to bring more people in the country, regardless of how the Australian public felt about it. And you've got nearly 70% plus of people wanted lower immigration. And nothing's been done about it. So like I said, different jockey, same dead horse.
Ms Hanson, already in his first press conference, Angus Taylor's been talking tough on immigration, and that's obviously your position on that matter has been attributed in no small part to the push and support towards One Nation. Are you concerned that a firmer and clearer immigration crackdown policy from the new Libs could...
The big issue that we have is from the fundamentalist Islamic countries. Did Angus Taylor said he will target migrants that are coming from those countries? Did he say he'll put a stop to it? Because my concern is that we've just learned there are 18,000 people in Australia under Asia watch list. Now, I can't tell you what it is, but normally we have a good idea who they may be. Radicalisation has been happening a lot in Australia. So we must be mindful the people that we bring in the country, are they going to be acceptable here? Are they going to assimilate with our communities? Will they be Australians? Because I'm over seeing the protest rallies on our streets. I'm sick and tired of seeing the violence that's happening. And the biggest issue for Australians out there now is about national security. Australians don't feel safe anymore. So when Angus Taylor takes a tough stance and really listens to the Australian people and brings out clear policies on immigration, what are they going to do about it? Then he might get some consideration.
Are you concerned that him being firmer on that issue could stem the flow of support from the Libs to One Nation?
No one will ever be as strong as One Nation on immigration. And it's proven that, because over 64% of the Australian people believe that One Nation is the only political party to really deal with mass migration and the people we're bringing into the country. So these people have been sitting on the fence that long. They don't want to offend this one or offend that one, and yet our country's going down the drain. So my attitude is, you actually deal with the issue, and people have a right to feel safe in their country. People have a right to go to wherever they want to in this country and feel that they are welcomed.
Have you decided on
have you or anyone in the party been approached by any grassroots Liberals wanting to defect to One Nation?
No.
What about MPs and senators?
No, they haven't. You'd think they would because the Liberal Party down 15%, they'd be very concerned. And that's why the spill. And that's why I think that putting Angus Taylor in is going to make a difference. I think it's a little too late, in my opinion, but we'll see what happens. People may want to come across the One Nation. If they do approach me, they won't automatically get a foot in the door. I'm going to look at their past record. I want to know what they've fought for, what they've said on the floor of Parliament. Are they going to fight for the communities? Do they have the Australian values at heart? Or are they just career politicians that just want to make sure they don't lose their seats?
And Senator, what about any Nats or LNP MPs or senators? Have you spoken? No? No. You haven't spoken to Colin Boyce or Lou O'Brien?
No. Colin Boyce has made it quite clear he's not coming across to One Nation, so that's fine. No problem. I'm not going out there seeking people. And I didn't with Barnaby Joyce. He sat on that for a year, and that was prior to the last election that I spoke to Barnaby Joyce. He still stood with the National Party. And then after that, he was sidelined. They didn't want him there. He was told by Dutton that he must go. He felt worthless, that he had no future, and he felt he had more to offer. And I saw that in him. Barnaby is a different person now. He's got a spring in his step. He's enjoying being a member of Parliament again, and he's enjoying being with a party that he can have a voice on the real issues that matter to him.
Senator, how's your working relationship with Angus Taylor?
The only last time I saw Angus Taylor have a talk with him was when he was Minister in Portfolio Environmental Issues, that I went to speak to him. And so at that time we had the balance of power and the shared balance power in the Senate, and we spoke about legislation at that time. So that was the only time they required my vote.
Have you chosen a candidate for Fowler?
Sorry?
Have you chosen a candidate for Fowler?
No, we haven't. We've opened it up, and we've got a lot of expressions of interest of people wanting to stand for Fowler. There will be a process that it will go through. I want the branch to be involved in this. We've just opened up branches, 150 branches around the country in each federal electorate. The branch in Fowler is the second largest in the country that we have. So I want the branch to be involved in who they want to see as their candidate.
Is your chance that realistic, given there hasn't been a huge showing in Fowler from One Nation in the past?
No, we haven't. Do we? Sorry?
Do you fancy your chances in Fowler, given there hasn't been a great showing from One Nation in the past in that seat?
Look, that seat, we only polled just over 6% at the last election. The party has grown since then. We've actually, now if you look at the polling, of course it's only polling, the real test will come on the day of the voting. But at the moment, if you look at 28%, that's nationally. In rural and regional areas, we will be picking up a larger vote than that. But what I'd say about Fowler is to find a candidate that's really across the rural sectors. This is very important. It's going to be a test for the Liberal Party as well, whether they hold that seat. And if you look at Angus Taylor, did he mention in his conference, about Fowler, about the real issues, which are the water issues, the Murray-Darling, the farmers can't get access to water, the communities rely on the water, plus also they rely on the farming sector, which brings money to the towns. So these are very important. Here he is. It's going to be a test case for not only One Nation, but definitely for Angus Taylor and the Libs.
Has Emma Hicks put her hand up again for that seat?
I don't.
And from what you saw this morning from Angus Taylor, did you see a man that you could work with and potentially in the future?
Of course I can work. Look, One Nation will work with anyone. All right, I'll even work with the Albanese Labor government if they put up decent policies that I can work with and agree with. But they don't even come and talk to us about policies. They don't need to because they ram everything through the Parliament with the support of the Greens. But I was proven to have worked very closely with the Turnbull-Morrison government and the ministers. Totally different scenario with the Albanese Labor government, and that's why we're in hell of a mess. Maybe if they did include One Nation in their discussions and policies and that type of thing, we may not be in the mess that we're in. And I'd give Chris Bowen a few lessons too on how to run the electricity
I don't know if you've seen this week, there's been a LNP member of Parliament here who has rebelled from the party and coming out against against the government gag on abortion. Do you think it's in Queensland's interest for that to be on the political agenda?
Who's with that?
This is at state parliament in
and
Queensland.
you're talking about who?
An MP who, LNP MP, who has rebelled against the party and decided that he's going to come out against abortion and wants to see that become something that's debated again. Do you think that's in Queensland's interest to come back onto the political agenda?
I tell you what, the abortion issue is very important to a lot of Australians, and I've actually had my concerns about it greatly. When you can have an abortion up to the day before the birth of the child, it is great concern to a lot of Australians, and especially to see those children are still alive after an abortion and left to die without any help or assistance. What have we come to in this country? Where's our humanity? You've got probably thousands of families out there that would dearly love a child. Why don't we actually look after that child then? Why don't we give it to those parents that want a child and can't have one? I think it's disgusting.
Senator, you mentioned One Nation's rising primary vote in the polls. You've now eclipsed the Liberal Party in terms of primary vote. Are you ready, and is One Nation ready for the scrutiny that comes along with the kind of scrutiny that's directed towards major parties? Are you ready for that as leader of One Nation?
Well, we have to, but that'll be closer to the election, and when we start putting out more of our policies. I've been under scrutiny for many, many years, and we've put our policies up from the last election. We still have our policies up there on our website, unlike the major political parties who've taken them down. We're actually, trying to communicate with the Australian public what we are offering them. And I think that's very important. As more of our policies are, put forward, yes, of course. Everyone should be questioned over their policies.
Senator, in Queensland, the Chris Foley government has committed to optional preferential voting. How helpful is that to your party?
It's not so much about One Nation if it's going to be helpful. I think it's in the interest of the people of Queensland. And it was after the 1998 election, it was optional preferential voting. That's when One Nation won 11 seats, 5 Coalition, 6 Labor. The Labor Party changed the preferential voting system and made it full preferential voting, same as John Howard in 1998, and that was to stop One Nation. The public are screaming out they don't want their vote to flow to someone they don't want in Parliament. So it's in the public's interest. Give them the option whether they want to put a mark beside one of the candidates or leave it blank, because a lot of these people should not be on the floor of Parliament.
Senator, do you know how many new members have signed up for One Nation in the last month? Do you have any kind of ballpark number of what that would be?
Not that I'm going to share with you. So anyway, our membership has increased tremendously. I'm really thrilled with it, the support that we have. Like I said, since last August we started rolling out branches around the country, and that was my decision not to do it until this time, and we've opened up about 150. That's in every electorate. So there is a movement that's happening from the public. They want change, and a lot of people getting behind One Nation. Like I said, it's not only the Labor, but there are some Greens that I've come across said, we're not voting Greens anymore. They've really had enough. They want change. So anyway, thank you very much for coming.